Hey guys, Misery here, back with another CZM video, and in today's video, we're going to be showcasing 9, destroying the Nebula Distortion 9 out of 9 boss. So far, I've had a blast with Season 2. I've been super busy deck grinding because we have to refarm all of our decks since our Season 1 decks can't be used in Season 2 since they're seasonal decks, so we have to refarm everything basically. But in this season, we can get refinement in God's Hammer on our gear that we get in the Chaos runs. So if we head over to Nebula Distortion right now, and go over to Elemental Spirit. As you see, I've already beat this. I beat it 9 out of 9. Let's go over to my decks real quick. I'm using 9, Orlea, and Rei. So starting off with 9, I'm sure that's why you're here. So my 9 is a 518 attack, 330 defense, 585 health, 58% critical chance, and 194% critical damage. The partner I'm running on 9 is Wilhelmina. This 4-star partner gives defense 24% at max dupe, similar to Alyssa, and when the assigned combatant targets a vulnerable enemy, plus 20% defense-based damage of attack cards. And as you'll see, when I face the boss, I apply a lot of vulnerable with Orlea. I also apply a lot of vulnerable with the weapon I'm running on my save data, this rare weapon here. When a 3-cost or higher card is activated, 1 vulnerable to a random enemy. Since there's only 1 enemy, it's a boss, every vulnerable goes on that boss. But as you see, there are modifiers on the specific rare weapon. The ones with the helmet icon right here are called refinements, and the ones with the hammers are called God's Hammers. So this one gives me increased damage amount of exhaust cards by 25%, which is going to help my extreme hue over here do more damage. And as you saw on the other one, plus 10% critical chance of attack cards with cost of 0. This one's useless because I have no 0 cost cards in this deck, so it was a dud, but the first one is still pretty good. And then I have critical chance on the Fairy King's Crown chest piece, which is going to boost my crit chance up to 64%. And then I'm just running the cube plus 25% damage amount. And at the start of the turn, 60% fixed damage to a random enemy for each exhaust card of allies in hand. But getting off of the gear, I'm running a 4 Fighting Spirit deck with Counterblade and Hue Extreme. Something I also forgot to mention in my deck is that I removed both of these strike cards. We go over to our cards. I removed the Experienced Strike and the Fatal Strike because I don't think they are worth it. The 1 AP, I'd rather be using my 1 AP elsewhere, like on Fighting Spirit, and my other cards like Hue or this Counterblade upgrade, because this Counterblade upgrade is really good and the best one. And then these Fighting Spirits are just free activations on Hue. So yeah, that's why my deck is so thin and I don't have either of these strikes, because I just don't think they're worth the value of using 1 AP for this damage and what they do. If you want to run them, you can, but I highly recommend to remove them, as using AP elsewhere is going to be more efficient and valuable for you. Ideally, you want to do Fighting Spirit as many times as you can, and then you want this Counterblade that starts the turn activating Hue, because that is a ton of value. And ideally you want Extreme Hue, because this is the only Hue in the game that goes up to 5 levels, and once you reach max level on a Hue, you can't use it no longer that turn. So the rest of the epiphanies go up to level 3, so that's very easy to get, and once you use level 3 on the other epiphanies, you can't use them anymore. But whereas with the extreme one, you have 2 extra levels and can get a lot of extra more damage. Not to mention this level 5 Hue Extreme does a ton of damage. 1140% defense-based damage. And defense-based damage scales off of defense and a little bit of attack. But that is the deck I'm running for 9. Her potentials, I don't have them maxed out, but I have them nearly maxed out. I have everything maxed except these 2 ones leading up to the major nodes. These ones are just at 4 out of 5, and then these ones are at 7 out of 10, and then this one's at a 10 out of 10. Memory fragments, I'm sure you're curious. I'm running a 2-2-2, 2-piece critical damage, 2-piece attack, and 2-piece defense set. You can run the new 4-piece order set, which is called Beast Yearning. If we go over right here, this one gives increased damage amount of Justice and Order Exhaust attack cards 5 times per turn. So this one is viable for 9, and then you can run a 2-piece defense, or depending if you have enough defense, you can run 2-piece crit damage set on her. So either works. I just ran 2-2-2 because I already had these pieces farmed. I presume a lot of people have 2-piece sets farmed since they've been in the game since launch, and the new 4-piece set just released, so not a lot of people are going to have good stats on that new 4-piece set. And yeah, she is E0, so this is totally relatable for for free to play. I am not using her on any dupes, nor do I have her partner. That is 9. Getting on to my Orlea. So my Orlea has 541 attack, 388 defense, 686 health, 5% critical chance, 128.2% critical damage. I'm not running her on a DPS Orlea build, so that's why the crit subs are not as high. For partners, I'm running Alyssa for the extra defense. This Alyssa is just dupe 0. My max dupe Alyssa is on Narja, so I'm not using that one. But it doesn't matter too much because I'm just healing with Orlea. If we go over to my save data, this is the data I'm running. A vulnerable thin spam deck. We just have the upgrade sensor to get it out of the cycle and make it more thin. We have the growth acceleration that applies to vulnerable to all enemies when using this card, and the retain effect on a softie. And then on the growing creature, this retain effect on this one also adds vulnerable to the enemies. So I'm applying a ton of vulnerable. I have Spear of Randomness on her. The refinements aren't too important on this deck. I'm just running a Psionic Combat Suit for her, and then Veiled Thorn. And then onto her potentials, they are pretty similar to my 9s. You know, everything max except these ones leading up to the major nodes. These are 3 out of 5, and then 7 out of 10 on these, and 10 out of 10 on that one. And then memory fragments, I'm running the new 4-piece Glory Rain set. When an exhaust skill card is created or used, increase damage amount of all allies by 5%, max 15%. And then the 2-piece 12% defense set. You do not need the Glory Rain set, but it will help. You could probably just run like a simple 2-2 HP and defense for survivability, and so she heals more. But yeah, my Orlea is E2. I don't think it matters too much because this E1 just adds retain to Will of Light. I don't have that in my deck. And then when creation card evolves into creation card 3-star card, retain is triggered. So that one's not too important. And yeah, that is my Orlea. And then next we have Rei in my 3rd and last slot in the team comp. I just have her on a DPS set, even though I'm not going to be using her as a DPS. I have other DPS decks, which is why I have her on this set. But she has 746 attack, 271 defense, 520 health, 44.5% critical chance, 167.7% critical damage. And then her partner, I'm just running Nyx since she draws. This is going to give me an ally attack boost when you draw for the first time each turn. And then her save data, I have her on a super thin deck. I have her on a 2 snack time divine deck with an Azure Lumen, which is more AP. So I'm getting 1 AP for each time using these snack times, but they are exhaust, so they are one-time use. And same with this Azure Lumen, 1 AP divine on this Lumen, and then 1 AP next turn on it too. So I'm getting a lot of AP generation with my Rei, which is really nice. Her refinement, so I was doing a little testing, and what this weapon does is when a 3-cost or higher card is activated 1 vulnerable to a random enemy. I have this on my 9, and I wanted to see if this applied and activated if it was on a different unit rather than my 9. And then I have a refinement of when a 3-cost or higher card is activated, 1 AP, 1 time per turn. These do not activate as they are not on my 9. They have to be on the specific unit for it to activate. So I am not getting this refinement even though I'm using 9's 3-cost Q, because this refinement is not on 9. So yeah, I just wanted to make that disclaimer in case you're farming decks right now, which I presume everyone is since the season just reset. And yeah, onto her potentials, I basically got them maxed out, everything maxed out except these ones leading up to the major nodes. These are just 4 out of 5. And then her memory fragments, I have her on a 4-2 4-piece void set and a 2-piece attack set. Like I said, this was a DPS Rei set because I have other decks that I can use DPS Rei on. And then onto her manifest ego, she is just E6. Finally, I got her E6 when I pulled for 9. I've been trying to get Rei E6 forever because Rei's E6 is one of the best in the game, especially for support. Allies attack card damage is increased by 20%, so that's going to be helping my 9 in any DPS I use with Rei a lot. And yeah, that's basically all my decks and all my units that I used for 9 out of 9 Nebula Distortion. So let's get right into the video.
急ぐ、もっと正確に。これは痛むぞ。準備はもっと早く。これは痛むぞ。私神の祝福ある。神の名で任せてください。急ぐ、地にあがいてみな。必要があります。私の助けが必要なの？天上の地位を。準備はよし。実力を見せてみろ。 もっと正確に。これは痛むぞ。もっと早く。これは痛むぞ。これは痛むぞ。急げ。準備はもっと正確に。これは痛むぞ。もっと早く。好きにあがいてみな。私光の浄化を神の名で命じる。これは痛むぞ。呼びました。流れを感じます。急げ。作戦指揮を開始いたします。私神のもっと正確に。これは痛むぞ。もっと早く。これは痛むぞ。もっと正確に。これは痛むぞ。もっと早く。好きにあがいてみな。任務完了。お疲れ様でした。結果に満足か。どうですか？私うまくできてました？
And that's going to be the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you found this video helpful or useful, I'd really much appreciate the support on the channel as I'm trying to hit my milestone of 2K subs, and we're getting closer to that goal each and every day. So I appreciate everyone who subscribes and supports my channel. It means a lot to me. But until the next video, take care, peace, and be safe.